Hi, Maddie and Eli. Daddy here again. So, the answer to the question I posed at the end of my last vlog was what language is Haagen-Dazs from? And the answer is, of course, no language at all. It's just a made-up word. So, there you go. So, yes, it's actually very, very cold, but I thought I'd pop out. First of all, I needed to get some special treats for the torts. They like that. They don't get strawberries that often, and they smell pretty good. So yeah, so there was some news this morning from Harrow Opera, the Great Harrow Opera, which I'm a resident music director of. Obviously this year, because of this whole global pandemic, we've had to postpone our production of the mighty Verdi's Ballo and Mascara, and we'd got to the dress rehearsal, as I mentioned in a previous vlog, ironically, after a long rehearsal process. So the news is that may now take place in March this coming year. So fingers crossed for that. That would be marvellous if that happens. We'll need a few brush-up rehearsals, but it won't be such a long process. So there's that, and also I've heard that there may be a company looking to use me for a couple of gala concerts coming up. November, December time, it's being talked about tentatively. There has been talk from another group. They posed a July date, but I'm not sure that may work out. That may be a little hopeful, but we shall see. And yeah, it's feeling kind of like maybe the gears are beginning to grind again in life, because it would be nice to get back to work. Although it has been lovely in a way these last few months, although obviously very lonely. But I've had a good deal of time to think and write, and yeah, so that was kind of fun. So couple of bonkers stories today from my life, and I'll be brief because, like I said, it is very cold. Yeah, a few years back, I think it was 9 years ago, something like that, the Hollywood actor Christian Slater, who hasn't done that much film recently, although he was a big star in the 90s. Anyway, he was in London playing on stage the Jack Nicholson role. Was it Randall McMurphy from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest stage version, and I was the music director on that show. Actually, technically assistant music director, but I was helping out pretty much everything. Yeah. Anyway, so poor Christian Slater. Obviously, we're both adults. He's older than me, and this was only about 9 years ago. Comes down with chickenpox, which is not great for an adult. It's a lot more serious than it is for a child, which is why lots of parents, when their kid has chickenpox, organise these kind of pox parties where all the kids get it, and it's good to get it out of the way. So anyway, Christian Slater gets chickenpox, comes down quite badly with it. My initial reaction, knowing my family history, of course, measles, when I got it as a child, is what destroyed my eyesight. I had beautiful eyesight, and measles destroyed that because we didn't know in that day and age that you shouldn't exercise when you have measles. And of course I did. I was a very energetic, sporty kid. And yeah, attacked my optic nerves, ruined that. Chemotherapy from cancer ruined my teeth. So yeah, not having very good luck. But anyway, so I immediately got on the phone to my mum. I said, Mum, have I had chickenpox? Come on now, have I had chickenpox? She said, oh yeah, of course, Ezra, of course, Ezra. Yeah, no, you have. You definitely had it, definitely had it. I remember writing it in your baby book. I said, I've got a baby book? She said, oh, yeah, I don't know where it went, but, yeah, no, I remember you've definitely had chickenpox. Anyway, a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I'm walking down Queensway, because at the time I was still living in my beautiful flat in Notting Hill, which I had for the best part of a decade. Maybe slightly more, actually, maybe about 11 years. I loved that flat, and I'll tell you all about that legendary flat, which became a kind of hotbed for artists and musicians and novelists in Notting Hill. It was a great place. I had a games room, and it was painted red and black, and it was fabulous, dartboard, everything. Anyway, it was a bachelor's paradise. You could literally smell the batch as you walked in. But anyway, yeah, so a couple of weeks later I'm walking down, or up I should say, Queensway. I'm kind of feeling rather itchy. I kind of look at my arms, and it's not defined. I just thought I've got a couple of red spots. Anyway, my then girlfriend came round in the evening, and she said, Ezra, have you looked in the mirror? So I looked in the mirror, and I've got these big kind of things coming up. And it was only on my chest and my arms and my face. Maybe a bit on the neck. And I've got some photographs of this. They're very funny, me looking forlorn in bed, holding a little stuffed giraffe. But anyway, that was horrible. Which is why it's so miraculous as well that you were conceived so easily, because of course I've had testicular cancer, which is already bad because you've only got half the equipment. Um, and of course, one of the things that chickenpox does is it attacks your sperm count. You can also get pneumonia, and if you get to the pneumonia stage, then it becomes very, very serious. Luckily, that didn't happen. I'm pretty indestructible. But yeah, so that's pretty bonkers, getting chickenpox from a Hollywood actor. Um, so I can't remember if I've told you the Naked Carmen story. I'll have to look back on previous vlogs because I don't want to tell it twice. If I haven't, I'll tell you next time the Naked Carmen story because it was extremely funny and involved Maddie, your lovely sister. So yeah, I'll finish with twice now I've performed with a fellow tenor, the two tenors, at the London Theatre Awards. And the first time he'd asked me to get involved and support him. And it was fabulous. And then he asked us back the next year, and I said, yeah, but this time I'm playing a bigger part. So we ended up doing a little medley. We finished with Nessun Dorma, and there are recordings of this. What did I sing? Oh, I sang Pagliacci as well, Vesti la giubba, and he sang, I think he sang Una furtiva lagrima. I can't quite remember, but anyway, a couple of other things like Danis mein ganzes Herz and some things like that. But anyway, so there's a glitterati of the London stage, and it was held in the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in the big ballroom. It's at the bottom of the Strand near where King's College is. And the organisers had made a fatal mistake because although it was a prize-giving ceremony, it was an award ceremony. Instead of having it like, say, the Oscars where everyone sits down and comes up and gets an award, they had all the people. There were chairs around the side of the ballroom, but everyone was standing around these tall kind of little tables which held canapes and bottles of champagne and all this kind of stuff. And all these really, really famous theatre people. I remember while singing Pagliacci looking down, and there was Michael Caine and Sir Ian McKellen and Fiona Shaw and just, you know, the who's who. But the mistake was they'd got them all boozed up at the pre-ceremony. And if you've ever mingled with theatre folk who are slightly sozzled, they don't shut up. As Marlon Brando famously said, if you, an actor is the kind of person that if you're not talking about them, then they're not listening. So there's all these famous people talking in these wonderfully posh, developed theatrical voices about themselves to their peers while we're singing. And I'm just looking down going, they don't shut up. It's just so, I had to sing over. And of course you could still hear us because it was, you know, two tenors blasting away. But yeah, that was rather bizarre. But no, I made some good friends that night. And the first night I didn't want to talk to anyone, but the second time I was like, yeah, tonight I'm mingling. Because obviously the second time you're not anywhere near as nervous. So yeah, that's a couple of stories for today. I better go, and Daddy loves you always. Mwah.